Okay, hello everyone. Like I said, this is the masterclass, and then today we're going to focus on the whole strategy. So far, I've taught you three strategies, but this is the final strategy of those three strategies combined. It's them as a whole, so like you don't have to change much. It's already everything that you already know, with a little bit of changes, but it's nothing major. Let's dive into it. So far, I'm sure you recognize this structure, which is the reset structure but used differently. Instead of using the change of character right here, I used a sweep instead. I just wrote an X, meaning that this area is invalid. Therefore, it created an endorsement. You just have to replace the market structure shift with the X sign, and then you use the endorsement. And then there's an imbalance as always, and then you use your or a block, and don't forget about the Fibonacci retracement, as it's very important. Like I said, we put an X there because it failed to reach our premium zone, so therefore it's an X since it got stuck on the discount, and then but it came back for our order block and imbalance, which is at our premium zone. And then from there, that's where we can take ourselves to the downside, continuing in this pattern. So, in simpler terms, we're just using the reset strategy on a continuation trend, if I can call it that. But besides that, let's continue. So right here, I was trying to build another structure, and let's say it was an invalid structure, and then another invalid structure. Let's say this is another invalid structure. We put an X since it's invalid, and then we have the low was taken out. Like I said, an invalid structure creates an inducement, just like the reset strategy. So inducement, and then where there's an inducement stands for what? Stands for liquidity near an order block. Therefore, there must be an order block nearby. So let's take this as our imbalance. There is no order block without an imbalance. Those two go hand in hand. And then let's say this is our imbalance. I mean our order block. This is where normally the trade is supposed to be taken. And then stop loss at the low. And like I said, we're trying to use this strategy on a continuation instead of using it as a reset point. So therefore, this would be a block of structure since you already can tell that the market is coming from the downside. And don't also forget your Fibonacci. It's very important. That's how you apply your Fibonacci in this case. Let me fix the structure real quick. Okay. Structure has been fixed. This is where our endorsement lies. And then that's how we're supposed to use it from now on. It applies inversely the same when you're using it on a bearish trend. But since we're still on that, let's go try it on a real chart. I'm gonna try to make this video as short as I can. How can I start? How can I start? 1 minute and five. Okay, let's go. Okay, we have a downtrend right here. Let's start at the top. Let's first understand why the market changed direction, and then we can continue from there. So we have a structure to the downside, to the upside. It continued, and then it was creating break of structures as it kept going. This is the break of structure. POS. Let's start here instead. Okay, let's say this is our invalid structure, and then we move forward. And then we move forward to another structure. Okay, let's mark this one. Since the inducement wasn't tapped, it's still an invalid structure. So let's mark it. This is our invalid structure. Anyway, as I was saying, we're marking the invalid structures, and then this is our inducement. This is our inducement. So let's mark our inducement. It was created by this fair value gap right here, and then also the invalid structure. And then we go to the order block. Okay, this is our order block. Let's check our Fibonacci. Like I said, it's very important that we use it. Okay. And then this is it. We have our premium and discount, and then it did come to the discount zone where our order block lies, and then we have our inducement right there. Okay, this is where normally you get your entry to the upside, and then you put your stop loss low of the swing low or swing high. As you can tell, there's a low created here, so that's why we put our stop loss. And then let's continue to the upside so that you can see what was going on before we go to the downside again. We have a break of structure starting from here, and then we have another break of structure right there. It's on our premium zone, so it doesn't count as a break of structure. It only counts as our invalid structure. An invalid structure, and then the endorsement was intact, so we continue with to the next one. We have another invalid structure right here. Okay, we have marked our invalid structure, and then we have our endorsement, and we use this as our order block to the upside. And then don't forget to use your Fibonacci retracement tool. Okay, it is on our command zone as usual. And then this is where normally you take your buy trade. You put a stop loss on the low, which is 1 call pip, and then you use the high as your 2p. And then now we have hit our TP. Since I said it's a continuation, you're supposed to write it as break of structure. And then it continues to the upside. We have another invalid structure. And mind that this is the 1 minute time frame, so therefore you might find a lot of interest in a day. So this is our invalid structure, and then another one was created right here. And then we use our Fibonacci retracement. We use the low and the newly created high, and then this is our discount zone. This is our balance. Okay, this is our imbalance, and then this candlestick is our order block. And then we get our entry, putting our stop loss on the low, and then we take a 30-cent higher high as our TP. And then now we have another break of structure. I have another break of structure. Surprisingly enough, the trade went all the way to our TP. So this is pretty much how you use the strategy, and then we'll be doing more videos like this so that you can understand the strategy even further. But for now, just take this as an introduction to the strategy. There are gonna be more concepts introduced later, new concepts, and the tweaks that I talked about, that everything is not the same as like the other strategies separately. It's combined, so some things changed. So I'm gonna introduce those things on the next video, but for now, I think this is where we're gonna stop for now.